So my name is Suleiman Khan. I am currently studying at Integra University in my final year of my BCA. So let's get started with the interview. So I always wonder how websites and apps work, and the niche of building a SaaS and delivering to thousands of people always fascinated me. That's why I built my e-learning platform for maths, for advanced maths, NetZ. And also I built many other small automation projects like a web scraping bot, a few big projects for my hackathon, like in fully integrated smart traffic management system and forecast system. So yeah, the factor of learning and building new advanced a bit complicated thing kind of fascinated me, and that's why I worked upon it. So during my process of building NetC, I encountered a very specific problem. um, it was that in many of the mathematical algorithms you have to put a certain function, and I was dealing with function as user input those function, I convert it into string and then put it into a very complex decision tree specially made for those every possible scenario of a function which can be inputted for a particular algorithm. So the code was very messy, but it was somehow working, so I didn't think about it. But it was taking 2-3 days to build just a single decision tree, because I have to consider each and every possible edge cases, scenarios, or certain user mistakes. So first I take it, then I take the string, then I segment it, clean it, then then put each element in the decision tree sequentially, and it was not sustainable. After 2-3 algorithms, I realized it was no longer sustainable. So I decided to search for better alternatives, and I come to regex. Literally changed my life. The code, which initially took 1,000 line of decision tree and cleaning and done in less than 100. Absolutely lovely. So for example, let's take quadratic calculator. Its decision tree one of the most easiest one to build, because very standard problem. About 300 to 400 line of decision and not yes, 300 to 400 line of decision tree and cleaning and so on. After regex, it was reduced to about 60 to 70, and it also speed up the performance. So less JavaScript, less performance intake, and better developer experience. So that was one of the most magical moments ever. Truly lovely. uh, and also during development, it was a prolonged development, because I was putting specific algorithms which my friends and colleagues are using in their college. So there was a time when there was an initial time during the prototype development, the performance inversal was about 90, and as soon as exam come for mass, it tanked. At one point there were 300 user at one point on my site, and the performance was about 50. It was one of the most terrible day. I tried trying to fix. I tried everything to fix it, but later on I realized I was doing way too much on initial load time. It was about 5 GB or 5 MB of data was downloaded at every initial load time, and whenever it was running, it was calling the backend, and too many requests. I didn't design it to be very scalable, so that was my fault, and so I decided to turn it into a PWA, so that major calculation can be done on the user hardware and optimize it for that. But during February, I realized there was another exam, and I realized it was still not that good, because the initial PW size was about 5 was approximately 4 to 5 MB only. So the initial load time was extremely delayed, and Still there was performance uptake at certain points and certain conjunction. So to have a better user experience, although the version and analytics was flawless, like this time it was still in 80s, but and didn't tank that much, and it eventually returned to 95, 92 again. But I still realized it was not that user friendly, so I decided to implement better dynamic caching strategies. So on the initial, when I download the PW at an instant, only the skeletal structure is downloaded with the initial, with very important links, nothing else. So initial load size from 4 to 5 MB it shrunk to 600 kilobytes, very fast. And as soon as you visit other pages, other links, and interact with different time, those particular assets like image assets, texture, and CSS, HTML, and JavaScript is downloaded. So for example, I go to interpolation page. Initial guide is downloaded with the example HTML, CSS plain, as well as certain links on are downloaded. But as soon as you click on the calculate button or the demo button for the calculator, then only the JavaScript is downloaded and run, which is about 10 kilobytes. It is extremely fast. Plus the initial load time is slow, so a user get a very seamless experience. So that was very beautiful to do. Yeah, so during this development project I built many features into it, like how concentration mode where it take full screen, hotkeys, and many process. But at some point my friends who was not able to understand how to use the application. So there was only 4 steps, very easy, but I have to go there and get them accustomed to it. So I studied about it and realized I need to use onboarding processes. So use few libraries for onboarding, and it turned out to be pretty cool. But still there was some friction amongst users, that they were knowing how to read the guide and example and then practice on the calculator. But the calculator one gave them a bit of problem because every algorithm has a different calculator. Very few have similar calculator, but every algorithm has different. Although the algorithm paradigms were extremely similar, as after you entered the value, you press calculate, it will give you a table with all the intermediate values as well as the final value, and a graph to understand it better, and steps broken down into major constituents, as well as if there is a formula, it writes the formula for your particular values dynamically and substitute the values in it. So you will getting literally everything you could possibly desire. But even though it was very user friendly, people could still get it, and I don't know what onboarding process I need to use for this. So while I was writing test to test those algorithms for every possible edge case, I realized I know how to use my calculator because of these tests. Like these tests taught me what problems were there, how to improve it, and get me ingrained understanding. So I decided to turn those tests into a demo button, like how I run those tests and get those outputs. Users can do, and although the first time they see a purple button as a demo, they click, they see what is going on, those values are inputted randomly or something. But the second time they see those values input, they understand, oh, I have to put those values here, 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 and the statement goes here, or the functions goes here, and this is how I get the generated result. So it was one of the most, you, you can say, clean UX design I have ever done. User feedback, and those I had a group of 10 to 20 frequent users, as well as some teachers I took help. They said this was one of the best features I ever added. Literally changed user interaction life. So at a time where 300 users were frustrated to a time where everybody was happy. That was truly magical for me. So um, for uh, so for me, I I just take a few YouTube channels like fireship.io. Been following him for last 4 years. Absolutely insane. And now Theo and Primogens are also one of my tech dose YouTube channels. So although there are many more, but I primarily rely on Theo and Fireship for my month's tech update. And all I can say that is I'm very very reliable, good at writing sustainable code, adaptive, can adapt to any of the situation or any feature you want, and yeah, a fast learner. Like I learned many things during this process. Also, I'm currently gamifying my application, also like Duolingo. So yeah, that's to an experience. Thank you.